All right, welcome to the first episode of Devine Independence. I'm Josh. This is
So, how you
all right.
doing, Josh?
I'm doing all right, doing all right. Happy to finally get this off the ground here and get going with it. We've been talking about it for a couple months here and just kind of very gently getting into it. Don't want to commit to something you can't follow through on. So, really taking our time, but we're here now,
Yeah,
ready to get the show on the road. And biggest reason here is, well, we really need something like this in our town. And I think folks are hungry for something like this,
yeah,
just
I
across the
really
board.
think that too. I do. I think that you can see that in people you talk to. I noticed it in, Nextdoor app. People really, really want to connect with other people in the community. It's a need.
Absolutely, absolutely. So I'm Josh. I'm a military veteran, internet hobbyist, I guess you could say. And I'm a farmer, but I really have a passion with driving government in the direction of more freedom. And I accept that that's something of uh, it's something that's not really going to happen too much. But hey, anything I can do with the existing infrastructure to give folks a little bit more freedom in their day-to-day life, like repealing a few policies, that is something I'm all about. And that's really what I take a lot of enjoyment in and I really push for.
Yeah. And I'm Michelle, and I am a former military wife, and I am uh, right now currently a parent educator and work with veterans. And I'm like Josh. I really want to have more freedom. I love having some land and working in our yard and our garden and trying to be more self-sufficient. And I agree. I feel like we need to do our best as citizens to hold our government accountable so that we can keep that freedom.
And why are we here? Well, we're hoping to drive Devine in the direction of a little bit more independence, a little bit more freedom oriented, but also just to build a community of, I don't want to say completely like-minded people, but it's kind of what we're getting at here. It's not to say we want everyone to be the same, but folks that are more interested in a free lifestyle and being more independent for themselves and as a community. And again, this is something we desperately need. So
Yes, I would agree. I would agree with Josh.
we firmly believe in working together, building that strong community, building that self-sufficiency and the freedom together, though. In Devine and the surrounding area, this area is so ripe for the freedom-minded folks to come on out this way. And I don't mean the patriot freedom, Trump supporter. It's not to say we're against that. It's just folks who genuinely want a more freedom in their lifestyle. I know plenty of people in HOAs say, yeah, I'm a patriot, I want freedom. Well, if you're living in an HOA, that means the federal government, state government, county government, city government aren't enough government for you. So you need to add another layer of government, an HOA, to your life. So at that point, I have to question, do you really want more freedom?
Yeah.
Because you have so many roles and then you're choosing to add more roles to your life.
Yeah, you brought up a good point, Josh, when you talked about Trump supporters and freedom lover, the freedom loving people, there's a big tent, right? It's not just one group. There's multiple people, uh, Democrats, Republican, Libertarian. We're not just focused on the stereotypical what you see on social media as the narrative of the Trump supporter is the only group of people that believes in freedom. There's a lot of people out there, and that's really what we're trying to attract is different ideas, but like-minded in the sense that we all want freedom and
Absolutely.
less government. Yeah.
And by doing that, by attracting enough those sort of folks to this area and waking up the folks that live here and are just exhausted by the small town politics, as they call it, by getting those folks together and just waking them up and, hey, we are here. Let's come together and work together. We are confident we can drag this city and county kicking and screaming if need be in the direction of freedom.
Yeah.
So kind of like New Hampshire's Free State Project, their goal is to bring all these freedom-minded people up to one place. Well, not everyone's capable of really moving to New Hampshire. The job market there is not the greatest. Fortunately, we're over here within 30 minutes of San Antonio, which is where 98% of the people here work. Man, that's the seventh largest city in the United States. Yeah, I'm 100% positive you can find quality work out there. And
Yeah.
I mean, there's some jobs here and there in between, but San Antonio, any job you want, you can find in San Antonio. And again, it's a 30-minute drive.
Yeah, it's really a great area to be. The people here are friendly, but it's funny. What we're trying to attract is is so diverse. I mean, Josh, you and I are a perfect example of this. I mean, a generation gap here. I'm older than Josh by a few years, and you know, anyway, he has different ideas and different beliefs. I tend to be a little more conservative. He has libertarian viewpoints, but we still agree on a lot of things, and that's what we're trying to attract. I agree. I think that we really could build that community here in Devine. And wouldn't that be great if we could get more people moving out here that could, you know, commute into San Antonio and enjoy the farm life and the self-reliance lifestyle, you know, that you're talking about.
Absolutely, absolutely. And spot on there. I wouldn't say we're dramatically different, but we definitely don't fall in the same tent.
No,
But we still find so much to agree on.
We've had our heated discussions at times, but they always end up fun and lighthearted, right, Josh?
Indeed. Well, because we don't take ourselves too seriously, and we have no problem respectfully disagreeing.
Exactly.
That's the key to it there.
Yeah.
Anyway, while property taxes are insanely expensive in Texas in general, same with the Northeast there, land prices are a lot more affordable. Now, specifically out here in Devine, house prices are a lot cheaper. And so anyone looking to move to this area, I mean, this is a good market. Even with housing prices being as high as they are right now, you're still looking median cost of a house out here is approximately $110,000 versus the state of Texas in general is $200,000. That's almost half the price. And again, you're within 30 minutes of the US's 7th largest city. So really ripe for growth. Anyone thinking about moving somewhere, this is a great option for you. And reach out, get in touch with us. I would love to talk to you more about that because I'm confident we can find you a quality-ish realtor. Still looking around for good realtors. They're tough to come by. You know that, Michelle.
I do. I had an okay realtor. She wasn't horrible, but I agree with Josh. There's probably opportunity for realtors here, right? People that are more competitive in nature. We could do for better realtors, but yeah, we could find somebody, I'm sure.
I'm confident we could find you a deal though. Anyway, there are certainly houses for sale, brand new, and plenty of fixer-uppers.
Plenty of those.
Yeah, the amount of abandoned houses here is insane. But yeah, it's a small town. It's a little on the rundown side, but with the right folks, I mean, it is starting to clean up a little bit. Again, just because we're so close to the city.
Yeah, there's a lot of potential. That's why it was very attractive to my hubby and I when we came out here. You know, the prices were for what we were getting, the acreage we were getting, were very reasonable, doable for us. And I know that's the same for you.
Yep.
And it was worth the work that you had to put in to your house to get it to where you want it to be.
I'm really still working on it, but it is absolutely worth it. Yeah, we got this place for it was significantly under market rate for anything else of comparable size. It did need a lot of work, but man, 12 acres with it. I couldn't buy the land for the price I bought this property for. And ironically, all the people that stopped by while I was doing the major renovation said, "Oh, I was thinking about buying this, but I didn't know what to do with all the land, so I didn't want to deal with it." Thank you.
Wow.
I guess.
Yeah, thank you.
I'm happy to deal with all this land.
You're welcome. You can have it. And he really is. Josh is working super hard on that land. It's coming.
Slowly but surely.
You've done a lot. You've done a lot for how long you've been there.
Yeah. I never thought I'd complain about rain in the desert, but man, this rain the grass and weeds are growing crazy. My fence just stays shorted out. And I can't find a scythe anywhere. I went looking the local hardware stores, the Ace, the Tractor Supply, I even went into San Antonio to Lowe's this morning, and I couldn't find a freaking scythe anywhere. So I can't find anything to cut the weeds off the fence line, but that's neither here nor there. Just
hey, I'll never complain about rain in Texas. Never, ever.
Right.
You know, my watermelons are growing like crazy and my cantaloupes, and I haven't had to water hardly at all. So
I tell you, I haven't got my garden growing. I tried starting a fall garden. I got 2, I think they're Trompachino squash. 2 of those grown. I got 2 out of about 10 okra seeds to sprout. It's just nothing sprouting because of the heat, I guess.
Are you using seeds or starters?
Seeds.
Okay, I've struggled with seeds too this year, but my starters do great.
I think that's what I need to do is get some starters in.
Yeah.
But it's also one of those things it's such a lower priority by the time I get out there and start weeding, So I actually went to the hardware store, Harrison Supply, and I bought some 6 mil black plastic. I'm going to lay that over the entire garden bed. I'm going to put some drip irrigation under it. I just need to buy more of that. I didn't buy enough. But anyway, that'll keep the weeds down, and I'll just stab a tiny little, maybe quarter-size hole everywhere I want to put a seed. And that way, I mean, it's going to have to be the same spacing for everything, but that way I don't have to deal with all the weeds. I don't have to water it. And I'm putting some Biotrack underneath. That's an organic chicken manure, pelletized actually. I have a ton of it, so literally a ton. So if you need some, come on by and grab a few buckets.
Okay, do it. Yeah, we have that. We have really good, it's not plastic, it's garden mat, I guess what it's called. It's, yeah, weed block. It's thicker than normal. I bought it on Amazon, and we got quite a bit for, I know it seems pricey, but it's a big roll. And we're talking to do the space that I know you're trying to get, $75.
Wow, that's not bad.
Yeah, but we will keep it, like it stays for a few seasons. And then we put hay on top and below it, put the hay below it to keep actually the soil. It does really, really well for soil, especially with the soil that we have here in Devine. You
say soil, I think what you really mean is sand.
Yeah, that's true.
So this is the only place I generally don't mean soil, digging a hole. Josh. What's that?
Mine's turning into soil.
Well, I'm slowly working on getting mine a little better, but yeah, ooh.
You're right. It is very sandy. That surprised me when we moved here a little bit, how much sand. But still, things grow in that sand quite well.
They do. So, they do.
Yeah, I got a ton of tomatoes this year.
I really wanted to grow, but you
didn't get any, huh?
Yeah.
I should have given you some. I had a bunch, and then of course I got a ton of okra, but I don't know enough about okra. I don't eat it as much. And
oh, really? I just got to throw in a skillet. I don't like deep frying stuff, but you give me pan frying. Oof. I killed a pig, so I got a whole bunch of extra fat, and I just throw some hog fat in a skillet and chop them up real into small slices. Ooh, that is delicious.
Well, I used to eat it all the time in the Philippines. We'd steam it, and it was really, really good. However, this for some reason was really hard. Even when I tried to cook
you let it go too long. You got to harvest it young.
Okay, that's what I'm doing wrong.
So when I was living in Hawaii, I learned that lesson the hard way. I was like, ooh, these are getting really big. That's exciting. I went out and grabbed one. This is a stick. What's happening? And then I did like 30 seconds of internet research. Oh, you must harvest it young or it turns into a stick.
Okay, good to know.
But hey, now you have lots of seed. So you can, replant with that seed.
Yeah, good point. Good way to silver line that.
Yep.
Awesome.
All right.
We kind of went off topic. Sorry about that, Josh.
Oh, you're all right. But well, I mean, all good discussion for anyone thinking about moving here.
Yes.
So
absolutely.
The other topic we want to hit on today is crypto and freedom. And
good topics.
It's the mere concept of revolution is really poorly thought out by anyone spouting it. Just the wackos who just wait till the shooting starts, or the morons on the other side. Oh, you idiots think that your AKs or ARs are going to defend you from the U.S. government. You're both morons. That sort of talk is what leads to just terrible things in general. That being said, government is inept. They don't care about freedom. There's bureaucrats. Everyone who works for government is a bureaucrat. Most folks are just trying to maintain their job. That's the way the machine has been designed. That being said, they're also happy to let your freedoms go by the wayside, and as long as they can extract every single tax dollar possible from you. Just like the big infrastructure bill being pushed through now in middle of August here in 2021, there's a crypto addition in there. I guess I don't know if you call it an earmark. It's not spending, but anyway, one of the ways I want to pay for this giant infrastructure bill is to increase crypto taxes significantly, which I don't know how they go up much higher. And they want to ensure that anyone touching crypto is a registered broker. So how are you going to stop me from moving my magical internet money that you don't take seriously around to a different place by requiring me to be a broker, but you can't control it anyway? So really all you're doing is pushing me into the black market and losing a ton of tax revenue, because if I'm not allowed to touch to begin with, then how are you going to expect me to pay taxes on it? At this point, I'll pay you taxes. Keep playing this game, and sorry, I lost all my crypto with my guns in a boating accident.
Exactly.
It's,
Exactly.
yeah, I
So
mean,
how do we combat that, Josh? I mean, what's the solution for
called the
that?
senator today. Karen, and I don't know how to pronounce her name, but yeah, I
John Cornyn
Cornyn. Yeah.
and Ted Cruz. And then our representative would be Tony Gonzalez.
Well, it's already made it through the House.
Oh, okay. So yeah, the senators.
Yeah, so it's up to the Senate now, and so there are two versions of it sitting in the Senate right now. We're waiting to see how that goes, but best you can do there is just send a message
And
here.
I would add educate yourself on crypto.
Oh, absolutely.
A lot of people don't understand it. It's new. I didn't understand it 10 years ago. I wish I had, right?
Likewise.
But I didn't. And 2016, I started to research it and made some good money, put a little bit of investment in it. And what I loved about it is it was mine.
Yep.
There were no bank taking a chunk of it. It was my money. And it was decentralized, which is, I don't think people understand what that means. Maybe you can talk about that a little bit. What is decentralization?
Well, and that's the cool thing about crypto. It allows us to interact transparently or privately. So if you're using like Ethereum, you can follow every single transaction, and it's decentralized in the sense that the network is maintained by these people running many servers in their house or in server farms or whatever all across the world, thousands and thousands of people. Now, there are these issues with things like Bitcoin where back when China permitted it, the Bitcoin mining was heavily centralized in China. If you got all the mining companies in China together, they could have done whatever they want with Bitcoin. The thing is, though, if you screw with it like that and start manipulating things, the value drops, and then you're left holding a bag of cans of soup because people lose trust in networks. So they sell whatever you haven't stolen from them, and nobody wants to buy it. So there is a vested interest in ensuring manipulation in the market doesn't happen. Otherwise, all your holdings become a can of soup. Also, some bad actors happen from time to time. Hacks happen, but again, there's that vested interest across the network to, okay, let's make sure this is quality checked. Let's make sure we're updating on a regular basis. Let's kind of do the white hat hacking thing there and find all the vulnerabilities here, because I have a vested interest in this with all my money in crypto. I don't want it to get taken away. I don't want to lose the value in it. So I want to secure it. It's kind of like living in a neighborhood or living on an island. You have a vested interest in the common defense of that area. Now, if you can go so far, well, if you live on the inside of the island, you don't care about the outside of the island. Well, if your goal is to sell trinkets from the island, you want to protect the island, because then no one buys the trinkets if your island doesn't exist.
Yeah. So, yep. What would you say to newbies that are jumping into crypto? Like, let's say it's some mom like me, and I'm in my 40s, and I'm hearing about crypto. Friends of mine are making money. Why would I go with crypto instead of like stocks? Why not invest just in stocks and bonds on the stock market?
Well, because in another 10 years, you're going to be complaining and saying, man, I wish I had gotten in on that crypto thing when it started. Just like everyone's saying Microsoft and Disney, and man, if I had just bought that. Well, this is that time when you can say, if I had. Well, now you can, and it's just your cognitive dissonance if you don't. Now it's just made up internet money. What do you think the US dollar is? Well, what actually backs that? There's no gold. It's literally just the trust and faith in the US government, which, have you looked at their ineptitude lately? Have you looked at the spending lately? The inflation?
Yeah.
I mean,
inflation's ridiculous.
Where's your faith?
So would you say then that one thing people don't understand about crypto for the newbies, this is for them. For people who already know this, that this may be redundant, but for the newbies, what you don't understand is cryptocurrency is a technology. It's the future. Wouldn't you say, Josh?
Absolutely. It's so the policymakers around the Federal Reserve, former Federal Reserve chairman, throughout the US government, there's a big push to go crypto based. That being said, it won't be a real cryptocurrency. It'll be a centralized digital currency. But still, that's the most secure way, most transparent way. You track everything. You can't get away without being taxed on this digital dollar that they're looking at pushing out. it just makes sense, and it's
To
a
me,
whole lot cheaper.
I tell people, I say, look, remember when the internet was new and we had AOL? You don't remember this, Josh. You were just a
Sure about
kid.
that?
I don't know. Do
We
you?
did. I was coming of age right as that was coming out. So
I
yeah, we had
remember
CenturyLink, I think it was.
you had CenturyLink.
Net
Well, I
Zero, Net
remember
Zero. I remember Net Zero.
Net Zero. Yes. Okay. Okay. I remember they had the CD-ROM. Remember back then, the free AOL, and then
Yep.
you could put that on your. It was dial-up back then. And then the big one was Yahoo. Now imagine if you had put stock in Yahoo back then. Yahoo's still doing okay, right? Not as
Yeah.
much as Google,
Now,
but
if you had figured out Google, oh, yeah.
but even Yahoo, if you had when AOL started and you started investing in Yahoo, you would have made a lot of money.
So that actually brings up a really good point here, which is to take, and if you decide to get into crypto, take your gains. You have to ladder in just the way and ladder out as well. Whenever you see a big spike like we had a couple months ago here in the beginning of 2021, take your profits. If you just hold on to it, well, it'll dip again. You don't know which ones are going to pop back up either. That's like me and back in 2017 when I first got into crypto. I was diversifying way too much into all these ICOs. Some of them sound really awesome. Some of them was like, hey, let me throw $20 at it and we'll see what happens. Well, most of them, actually just about all of them went belly up. And some of them were genius technology, but they just didn't have the marketing. So now get a better understanding there. Okay, this is what I should be looking for. But diversify a little bit and take your profits, because Yahoo did really, really well for a while, but then it kind of petered out because we had better technology coming along. So it's kind of like Bitcoin. Bitcoin's hot and new right now, new being a relative term, but go for some Bitcoin, but also recognize that Ethereum's really taken the lead here right now, which Cardano, when they roll out smart contracts in the fall of 2021 here, they might take the lead as well. So we have to stay up to date to an extent. I mean, you don't need to understand all the programming languages. You don't need to know how to run a full node, or you don't need to know how to make a DApp. You just need to understand this is a new technology. I don't fully understand it, except that, but it's something that I want to put some money into, and I wouldn't suggest anyone put anything more than they can afford to lose without destroying their life into it. This is gambling money.
Yeah. And except for when you say like there's a couple coins that Bitcoin is going, it's going to keep going up. It's pretty stable. When you say out of all the cryptocurrencies, that's the stablest one of all.
It took a 50% dip the last few months. You can't tell me that's stable.
Well, I understand that, but you compare that, what, 70% of these coins after a year or so peter out, right? When you say quite a few, the smaller ones, but Bitcoin has stayed strong since when it first started. It's still the lead, even though these better technologies are coming. It's maintained its lead pretty good.
I mean, we still haven't seen mainstream adoption.
Not yet. But what I'm trying to say, I agree with you. I just am saying, like, I guess the good question is, how do you know how to diversify? What kinds of things do you do to diversify? What's your strategy with diversification, crypto?
So, I mean, you can read white papers, you can look at the charts just and diversify into the top 20 even. You can listen to the YouTube personalities, kind of pick and choose there. But the reason I say only gambling money is because I've seen people put in life savings. Yeah. And they can't, most people can't control their emotions. That's why Dave Ramsey teaches the way he teaches, because people can't control their emotions. They're going to buy on the peak. It's going to go up a little bit, and then it's going to drop a whole bunch, and they're going to sell on the dip because they're just so flustered. And they say, well, I'm going to at least get $100 out of the $10,000 of my life savings. And then it goes back up, and then they're upset. And then they buy back in $100 on a peak, and just people can't control their emotions. So it's gambling in a sense that I don't expect anyone to control themselves.
However, those dips, they always come back. That's one thing I've learned through this whole thing. And I have to remind myself, and I am guilty. Like what you said is so true.
Me too.
I've lost money. This last year, I lost a big chunk of my, we talked about this. Oh my gosh, it was, my stomach was like, Then I just turned it off for a while. I've revisited it recently. I just didn't look at it, just like you would with stocks and bonds. You just kind of put it aside and then check back in a few months. And sure enough, it's going back up. So I agree. We have to be careful with emotion. If you find, I find myself doing the same thing. So when you get like that, just maybe
Turn
step
it off.
back. Hmm.
Yep.
Exactly. Yeah. So that being said, what do you think about the current market?
Honestly, I'm waiting to see. I feel like this is going to be a small bear trap. And it's the same thing that happened in 2013. I could be wrong. I'm okay with being wrong. I hope I'm wrong. But we saw a giant dip and then drops back down up a little bit and then a big drop. And then it sort of leveled out a little bit for maybe a month and then a small jump and then nothing for a dip down and didn't do anything for 3 years.
So you think we're heading into a bear market then
I
soon?
I think so, but tough to say. I really don't know. I just staked all my Cardano today because I figured I got what I got. I'll go ahead and take the interest on that, and we'll see how things pan out. And if they don't make smart contracts happen here this fall, we might see that just kind of go by the wayside because they've been so slow executing anything.
Do you think that the Ethereum forking has helped it boost it up this last week? Do you think that had anything to do with the increase in
I
gains?
wouldn't say it's the fork. It's all the FOMO over DeFi. FOMO, for those who don't know, fear of missing out. Folks are really flipping their lids over DeFi. They don't understand what DeFi is. They don't know how to use DeFi, but they want in on Ethereum because they know that Ethereum hosts a majority of DeFi apps. So
Can you explain what DeFi is for those of us who?
decentralized finance. That's you're going to put your crypto into one of these side chains, and you're going to just make interest off it by loaning it out, by staking it, by a number of different things. There are all kinds of let's call them advanced economic instruments, kind of like stock companies, brokerages. They have all these sort of advanced things. I don't understand all of it. That is the extent of my knowledge because I just haven't really had the interest in getting into it because I can stake just fine. I don't need to take the gamble and lending it to somebody hoping they'll pay me back. I understand a lot of these companies, they have a lot of equity in them, and so if one person doesn't pay them back, they have enough reserves there to make you whole again or pay back the most of what you lent. But at a certain point, that's not very sustainable. A lot of people don't pay back, but that's how traditional banking works as well. So
Yeah.
I don't know. But to your original point here, the average person thinking about getting into crypto, what do I tell them? You need to let go. No one cares that much about you. No one cares that much about the $150 in your bank account. I say it because my mom, she was FOMO hard this past couple of months because I made a little bit of money off of some off a pirate chain. And how do I get in this? How do I buy Bitcoin? Okay, well, go to Coinbase. Here's a link, and I put in my Coinbase link. Buy $100. You'll get $10 free Bitcoin. I'll get $10 free Bitcoin. Wait, I have to give them my bank account information? Yes, you do. How do you want the money to magically get from your bank account to them then? Well, I don't know. I'm not giving them that. I don't understand. It's 2021. Just freaking log in. This is a heavily regulated company. I'm not giving them that. They'll take all my money. Oh my God. I promise they have billions of dollars floating around there. Like
they don't care about your $100 that
right.
You're putting
The pittance in your bank account is nothing to them.
Wouldn't you say the security on Coinbase is probably the same as any bank?
Probably better, honestly, but
yeah.
Just my opinion. I don't actually know.
I mean, I imagine those exchanges spend a lot. I mean, I wouldn't leave. I'm kind of picky about my exchanges. Like I told you before, I'm a little weak and wimpy when it comes to some of these new exchanges that are out there. I stick with Coinbase because it's very user friendly, but you know they don't have every coin on there, which is a bummer because there's some good coins I'm missing out on. But I do trust. Like I feel like they're good as far as because they're so big. I imagine that they have good security, but that's something I need to research anyway.
And they're very, very heavily regulated. So if they lose some of your crypto, they're gonna fix it because their stock price is gonna dip heavily if they get hacked. And these exchanges get hacked on a regular basis. Even
so
Binance,
banks, though,
they do, and they have to fix it. But just like Binance, man, I really like Binance, but there have been plenty of folks who they can't get their crypto off it. And the one benefit you have, and I don't actually use Coinbase much, I actually use a Chinese exchange. But I mean, I accept the risk, but it's convenient to use, and I like it. They do have a good coin offering, so that's why I use it. But the Chinese company, if they steal my crypto, there is the square root of F all that I can do about it. I'm not
You're
going to
gone.
China to sue them. They'll probably just kill me. So
So you've lost it. You're willing to accept the risk that you're taking for that
right.
exchange.
And with Coinbase, I can't actually sue them. I don't know that I'd win, but it's at least in the US where I have some recourse.
Yeah. I think it's gotten so much better than when Bitcoin first came out. You really had to be a techie to know how to use it. And that's what was so intimidating about it at the beginning, is like, I'm not a techie. And so some of the stuff I had to really research. I was on, like, remember Ether Delta?
Yeah.
I was on that one. Does that one still exist? I don't even know.
So it was really good until they sold it in late 2017, and they had an ICO, which I also participated in. Like, this site's great. They're going to do an ICO for what? I don't know. Whatever. Here's $500. Take my money. I love this site. And then they sold to someone else who just was a complete scam artist and did nothing with it. Just took a bunch of money.
Yeah, I took my money off that, and it felt like the wild, wild west. I mean, it really did. And that's what crypto was for a while. But the techies learned how to use it, and they made good money. But those of it, and then when it sort of has become mainstream in the last few years, and more people are getting, I guess it's getting the attention because people are making good money.
Well,
but yeah, don't be afraid of Coinbase. I think Coinbase is a good place to start.
And I think you hit on an important thing there. It's not that it's becoming easier or the more techies are coming around. It's just that the applications built on top of blockchain have made it more accessible. So Coinbase was really difficult. Kraken was, I mean, it's still difficult to use. It was almost impossible to figure out unless you were pretty advanced into computers. Back when in 2012, heck, I think it was 2014, I was asking a friend, how do I buy a Bitcoin? I just want to put $200 or $300 in and just see what happens. Oh, you don't want that. It's just for drug dealers. You need to like do a paper wallet. Well, how do I do that? Oh, it's really complicated. It's, this really long hash. And okay, it does sound complicated. All right, I guess I'll just go get a case of PBR or something. And this guy, 4 years later, got out of the military at 17 years, 3 years short of retirement, said, yeah, I just made a couple $1 billion or a couple $1 million off of Bitcoin. So I'm just kind of done here. Like, dude, I asked you 4 years ago how to do that. Yeah, I was really upset at that point. So I just gotten ripped off. And
are you still friends, this guy?
I mean, we weren't very close friends. We worked together and we were friendly together, but yeah, we don't really talk anymore. He's actually one of the people over in the ARC team.
Oh,
yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
So you got connections in the ARC
if he would respond to a message, yes. But again, we don't really talk anymore. So
yeah, Josh has connections in the crypto.
That's cool. Yeah. Anyway, we're going a little bit long here, so I did want to wrap up. Anything you wanted to hit on the way out here?
I think we nailed it all today.
All right. Well,
yeah, we did pretty good.
Some things I want to hit on the way out here. Devine's demographics leave a huge opportunity for us freedom and self-sufficiency minded folks to drive it away from this wannabe Mayberry thing that they've got going on towards a stronger and more self-sufficient community. So if you are even thinking about making a move over here to Texas, please reach out to us. And I will post in the, I'll have to post in the show notes here because we don't even have an email address yet. So we'll make sure we add that on and find a way to connect with you. Michelle, do you want to get on to Twitter or anything like that? I don't have Twitter or Facebook or anything like that.
I don't have a Twitter. I can if you want me to.
I'll get us on.
I used to have a Twitter.
Do you have Float?
And then I got censored.
Okay, well let's go to Float instead. I like Float because it's moving into the blockchain direction.
I have Instagram.
Just like Twitter. Okay, we can do that too. That's all picture based, so I haven't even contemplated that one.
That's true. Okay.
I don't really have any pictures.
I don't know what Float is, but I'll figure it out. And I think we should do a Twitter because a lot of people have that. And if it's not me, it's our, we can do this.
Okay.
Let's do it. Do a
and
Twitter.
if you go on over to Float, I think I'm Josh R. Let me look. Okay, yep, at Josh R on Float. So if you want to reach out over that way, you can do that as well. And I'll be sure to post this to Float. I'll upload this to library and I'll upload it to YouTube. And you can definitely make comments on Odyssey. That's the user interface to Float or to library. You can make comments on Float. So yeah, I guess all the place I'll put this video up. You can reach out, make comments, but I'm happy to get some more folks on. And if you want to jump in the conversation, feel free. I'd love to hear about you and hear from you. With that, folks, that's all we got. Take it easy.